Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll be going through the Richmond versus St Kilda game, going through how the Ruckman absolutely dominated in, I guess, the second half here. You'll see huge scores from the likes of a Marshall and Nankervis leading the lines, and then Steele coming to the rescue with a big VC score as he got something like, what was it? I want to say roughly 55 non-disposal points or somewhere around that marker. I think he had 10 tackles and 5 marks or whatever. Free kick split, I think he was -1 or -2. So yeah, he really saved me with a captaincy score. I'm pretty sure now that leaves me in the spot where I've got round 4. I had obviously Steele. Round 3 I had Gorn, and then round 2 I had the Bont for a 104, that was stinky, and then I had also Bont for a 90. So my captaincy scores are slowly starting to improve. I believe I'm probably, let me actually just, I can quickly do the calculations for you. 131 plus 146 plus 90 plus 104, divide that by 4, and my captaincy score is currently a 118 basically. And if I had just not done Bont in round 1, to be honest with you, if I had done literally any other player, including like an Isaac Heaney or a Max Gawn himself, I'd be looking at a potential like 130 captaincy score, and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm doing so well in Supercoach is my captains. Whereas in AFL Fantasy, it's going pretty well, but it's not as good. But yeah, the captaincy score from Steele on Fantasy was really, really good. And so yeah, really happy about that. But before we get into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So, Nankervis 130, he was immense. If we go here, you can see 20, 48, 39, 23. I don't know what exactly, I'll bring up the numbers for you, but I think both Ruckman had roughly around the 40 hitouts or so. Sorry, no, Marshall 24 hitouts and Nankervis 35, so it wasn't actually that many. It was the non-disposal work with the marks and tackles that really helped them out. You can see that the likes of a Marshall was at 7 marks, 7 tackles, which is actually 49 points. And Nankervis 5 marks, 7 tackles, which is 43 points. So they really got that going, as well as both of them had 20 odd touches as well. So they got roughly around 55 points through that. So they had sort of 50 points through disposals or so, and then they also had almost 45 or so points through non-disposal marks and tackles, and then Marshall had 24 hitouts, and Nankervis had 35, so they got an extra points through that. And Marshall came up for a goal, so he got an extra 6 there. So that's the reason why they were so highly scored. Bolton 120. He had an absolute huge first half in general and third quarter as well. And then last quarter he had a couple marks, but yeah, that first quarter he could have easily, if Richmond had gone on and won, he would have been best on ground, and probably still could get best on ground because he kicked 4 goals in the end. But I don't know if he'll get best on ground necessarily, as I didn't actually watch from I basically left around the 20-minute mark of the third, I would say, to do stuff, and I didn't get to watch the last, so I wouldn't know who was best on ground in the whole game, but Bolton was definitely best on ground to that point. Martin was really, really good again, for the first time this year, and so these two were an interesting watch post-buy, and just seeing their role develop, because that sort of top 6 forward is very, very open. If we just go to Stats Center, and then we go to, not prices, we go to positions, we go to forwards, and then we go to average, you'll see here that Combin, I don't think will average that many across the whole year. Then you have these 3. I think LJ will drop a little bit, and then you've got Mackay. I think he's going to regress down. As we showed in that 76 that he scored, I think he'll regress down to like 83, 84. Myers, I think, will hold around that range. Jesse Hogan, I think, will regress slightly. Joe Danaher, I think, will regress slightly. So you're sort of looking at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sort of Liam Baker at 87 as the top 6 forwards. And you've got Sanders that's most on the bubble. He's like 36% forward. But you're sort of looking at this and going, Shea Bolton's 85 at the moment, and he's coming into his bye, has West Coast. Is he almost a top 6 forward? And so that is sort of the question. Jeremy Cameron also is an interesting one to look at. Has gone 91, 62, 66, 116. So he's an interesting watch as well. So yeah, that is just my sort of thoughts on that. Is that you see this with Dempsey now, an 80 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19th best forward. And we've got, what's that? Let's just look here. In one LJ loses his role, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got 7 key forwards there ahead of him, which he could easily jump ahead of with a good game against North. If he goes well, Dempsey could easily jump in around this marker here and have some guys fall. So he could easily be the 10th best forward, Dempsey, and that's why I think he was a good buy, even though he was a rookie price guy earlier. So that's just my whole thought with Bolton and Martin, is that forward line is so hard to show at the moment with key forwards having the North and the West Coast matchup, so they kick a 130 score or whatever. So it is so hard to tell who's actually a top 6 forward. So going on roles, probably, you would say that Bolton and Martin have the better roles compared to the more consistent roles. So that's why I'd almost consider them. And they scored huge this week. Taranto, 99, just beat his break-even, but is an interesting watch as he's going to probably, in general, dip in price, I would expect. After the 130 that he had last week, that's going to get rid of itself. If we go to Taranto here, he has now got a 97 break-even against West Coast and then goes into the bye. So he's gone 56, 91, 96, 132, 99. He certainly isn't averaging the greatest, but if he puts up a big score against West Coast, then you can start to almost consider him, as he did have 6 free kicks for and 3 against. So that was a -3 for that. So yeah, if he does score a big score against West Coast, then you start to almost consider it as he's a fallen primo. Similar to, I think, Dawson as well, has the same sort of, Dawson's still 981k because he's going well fancy, he's just butchering the ball. So yeah, that is what my thoughts are on Taranto, Martin, Bolton. Short, not top 6, I don't think. That top 6 line for the backman is really actually going to get large, I think. Rioli Brown as well, an 81. Thought he did really, really well and will be, for those who picked up on him, a really, really good rookie. Graham, 78. Ross Campbell, a 64. So he's doing really well as well. Gained, I think, another 40k or whatnot. I just need to check this. Yeah, gained where is he here? Gained, 39k again. So he's been a really good pickup as well. He's just gained cash slowly. Has a 20 break even, but has West Coast. So hopefully he can pocket a massive score into the bye and be sort of a best 18 sort of player. And so yeah, really looking at that. Vloston, Broad, Rioli, Young, Sonsi, Kosicki, McIntosh, Dow, Pickett, Miller, Mansell, Leofau. Leofau, I've actually been impressed by him. He really actually provides a contest, and if it was, I don't know if he scores better in Supercoach, as I haven't really been looking at him, but I thought he was really, really good in patches, I guess I would say. And so, yeah, let's just quickly look at it. Yeah, he gives you a 49 in Supercoach, but only 37 in Fantasy. So yeah, I think his game translates more to Supercoach than Fantasy. McAuliffe, I'm pretty sure might have even got injured, but just shows you 23 in the last term. Dow has an injury problem as well, and McAuliffe could be one to look at, but apparently he has some injury concern or whatnot. I haven't read into the articles about that. I only saw a headline, so maybe look into that yourself, as I will across the week. But yeah, that is one to just pick up on, just a note. Marshall, 136, he was absolutely huge. There is, Ross Lyon came out post-game and said that there is a chance that Campbell comes into the side to help him out. No thank you, as that sort of would suck. But the good thing is we get to know what that is over the next week, I believe. Yeah, they play the Saturday game, so we will know with Campbell whether on Thursday night whether that is the case. And then they also play, where do they play? I'm trying to pick it up. Where do they play here? They play on the Thursday night, so we'll also know then that where he plays. So it's never really, for me, I'm probably going to never, so we'll know here, we'll never get Tom Campbell as they don't have an extended bench until, they don't have an extended bench for a while here. Just looking through every single game. They don't have an extended bench. Where are they here? They don't have an extended bench. Keep on going. They don't have an extended bench till round 11. Till the last game before the first set of buys, which is like a month and a half away. And Rowan Marshall is probably going to be fully fine by then. As this was a massive matchup in terms of rucks. They had so many contests, whereas Marshall usually can just sort of rest forward on stuff like that. So it was an interesting game in terms of the amount of ruck contests, I feel, just because of the small ground. Still did his thing, 131, absolutely huge. And I know I know it's 11 minutes in, so better get the recording done. Still 131, yeah, huge first quarter, starts of the first, then huge third and huge fourth, got to the 131 and really happy about that. 131 score as a captain, you take anything. And this is what I was doing with the Isaac Heaney. A lot of people would have said, yep, take it. It's 108. No, we don't take 108. We take a 115 plus score, as that is the real damaging. Captains can be really damaging, and Steele was always going to, I think, score well on that ground. That is a ground suited to him. And yeah, he looks back because he's also getting those cheap marks. Whereas if you, I think, look back on his scores last year, he wasn't moving the ground well. So I don't think he was getting the cheap marks comparatively. So that's why I think he's done really well this year. Wanganeen Malira, 127. He was absolutely huge and really, really good for the fantasy, for the Supercoach side. Ended up only a 114 for Supercoach, but you take that. He did butcher the ball a little bit, but it was a smaller ground. So I'll be looking at him in the next maybe 3 weeks to grab in fantasy, as it seems like they finally realised we just don't. We let Bonner kick it to Wanganeen Malira or pass it to Wanganeen Malira, not Wanganeen Malira passing it to Bonner, as that seems like the plan that they've sorted out. And that seems to have limited the turnovers for Bonner, who had 13 less turnovers and 3 less clangers. So seems to have worked out. Hill was really good, Sinclair really good. So yeah, you can just see this almost quartet of Wanganeen Malira, Hill, Sinclair and Bonner off the back line, just passing it to each other, and it seems to be working. So yeah, really looking at that. Sinclair still dropping in price, so just watch it develop as we look here at Sinclair here quickly. You'll see here 873k with a 109 break even, so I think he's started to bottom out. So you can start to look at him. He's now gone, 79, 99, 105. So he's starting to, I think, almost get in line with the top 6 defenders, sort of scoring that 105 range. So I'm looking at him and sort of wondering probably another 3 weeks until we look at him and go, yep, we're going to grab him. But yes, one to watch there. Battle, Ross, and then we get down to Bonner. Started off really well and then tapered in the second half, kicking a goal in the last quarter to really get his score up. But, I mean, he's making so much cash. And what's his break-even now? His break-even's back to 33 as he drops off the 127 now to a 94. But yeah, he's got that 67 still in his system. And if he can get another big game, he will absolutely skyrocket in price. And he's doing a lot better than... he's almost doing better than the likes of Crouch, even though Crouch is doing 10 points better, just because he started at such a low price. He's gained 196k, so he started at like 460k. We jumped on him at 510, and yeah, he's gained almost 150k. And even with Dougal Howard coming back into the side, I think he's a real, in the way that they play it, I think he's a real use for them. So I think that he will generally stay in the side for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And that's all that we need, as 2 to 3 weeks more of him with a projected break even. I mean, we are going over time. But look at this. For the next 3 weeks, he's still projected with 88, 70 and 78. And he could go more than that, especially with this soft Western Bulldogs matchup. He could easily go and get another, I would say 100k, and 100k, 759, then we just top him up with Jai Clark at that point could be around a 380k because he's 331k. a 380k Jai Clark in about 3 weeks after we do all the other switches. That's around another 160k on about 750k, and 160k, that gets us to a 910 guy. And like we were talking about, if you look at this, Toronto, 896k, has West Coast this week with still a 90 odd break even, as we said, then has the bye, and then has Melbourne. We'll know by then, and you can look at here, with that sort of scoring, he may be around that range that we can pick him up off of Bonner, etc. But Bonner may be going so well that you can just almost keep him. So that's sort of what I'm looking at there, and what I have to weigh up is when do I trade out him, but he's going really, really well. Darcy Wilson butchered the ball, but I didn't need him to score, to kick the ball cleanly, sorry. And yeah, he did his job. So really, really happy about that. So many marks. So happy that I had him on field. It sort of wipes away the likes of a Harley Reid, and I know a lot of people thought about almost trading him out, and he's done well. So almost to trade out in Supercoach anyway, just because he scored, I think, a 58, even though he had 79, just because he just kicked the ball so poorly. But yeah, really, really happy about this on a small ground for a winger to score well. Was really, really good. Wilkie, Philippou, Sharman, King, Cordy, Memory, Stocker, Owens, Burns, Higgins, Zach Jones subbed out of the game. I need to look into the fact of why he was subbed out, whether it was just sort of he needed to sort of get his workloads in, and or whether just because Hasty or Wilson is a better runner and Zach Jones was just tired, whether they brought on a winger for a winger, and it was the more tired winger that they brought on. Brought off and brought on Hasty for. But yeah, so Hasty again, just showing that he wasn't a good pickup. And the good thing about Hasty is he's building in a couple of 0 games or very, very low games into his scoring. So if you look at now, he's got 2 games at an average of 8. He's going to be, hopefully, next year, that's going to really help his pricing. But obviously, that is looking well into the future. But yeah, Hasty could be very, very basement price next year, like the Wilmot was last year. We got to look at him the previous year. But I think Hasty could be an interesting one, as these sub games can sort of help out low scores. But yeah, just watch out for McAuliffe injury, as well as just look at and watch out for all the St Kilda guys, as they really are a fancy haven for point scoring. And that's the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be the last game of the round, the non or half day cost tag game against Hawthorn, which almost turned into a boil over. But anyway, I'll see you guys in that video. Bye guys.